There is a particular kind of confusion that settles in quietly during your 20s, not as something dramatic or obvious, but as a persistent feeling that follows you through your days, even when everything on the surface appears to be moving forward. It often shows itself in small moments, when the noise fades, when you are alone with your thoughts, and you realize that the direction you believed you were heading in no longer feels solid beneath your feet. For most of your early life, structure existed without you having to question it. Expectations, routines, and systems quietly told you what progress looked like. And even when those structures felt heavy, they protected you from having to ask deeper questions about who you were becoming. Then, almost without warning, that structure disappears. Your 20s arrive with a kind of freedom that sounds exciting from a distance, but feels overwhelming once you are inside it. Because freedom without guidance does not feel like possibility. It feels like pressure. Suddenly, there is no single definition of success that feels reliable. No clear timeline that reassures you that you are doing life correctly. And no one who can tell you with certainty that you are exactly where you should be. Instead, you are left with choices that feel permanent, identities that feel unfinished, and a future that feels open in a way that is both full of potential and quietly unsettling. This is often the moment when people begin to feel lost, not because they are failing, but because the internal compass they relied on for so long no longer points anywhere familiar. The goals that once motivated you may suddenly feel empty. The ambitions you were told to chase no longer resonate. And the version of adulthood you imagined earlier in life feels strangely disconnected from the life you are actually living. What makes this experience heavier is how rarely it is spoken about honestly. From the outside, your 20s are supposed to look like momentum, confidence, growth, self-discovery. Yet internally, many people are carrying uncertainty, doubt, and a quiet fear that they are falling behind without understanding why. You begin comparing your internal confusion to other people's external certainty, measuring your worth against timelines and achievements that were never meant to be universal. And slowly, your trust in yourself begins to erode. For many men, this confusion is carried in silence because you were never taught how to speak openly about doubt. And strength was framed as certainty, independence as having answers, and vulnerability as something to overcome rather than something to understand. So instead of expressing the confusion you feel, you internalize it, convincing yourself that you should be able to think your way out of it alone without slowing down, without admitting that something feels misaligned. You distract yourself with productivity and constant movement, hoping clarity will arrive if you just keep going long enough, believing that speed will solve an internal question. But clarity does not arrive through speed. Clarity arrives through reflection, through stillness, through noticing what no longer fits. Feeling lost in your 20s is rarely a sign that something is wrong with you. More often, it is a sign that something inside you is changing. You are transitioning between identities, shedding versions of yourself shaped by expectation rather than choice, and beginning to confront questions that cannot be answered by following instructions. This discomfort is not a mistake, it is the process. Many people rush towards certainty at this stage, settling into lives that feel safe rather than aligned, not because they are weak, but because uncertainty feels threatening when you have never been taught how to sit with it. What feels like confusion now does not disappear when ignored. It waits, and often returns later as numbness, resentment, or the quiet sense that something essential is missing. But when faced honestly, this feeling transforms. Being lost becomes an initiation, a passage between who you shaped to be and who you are capable of becoming. It is the moment where external validation loosens its grip and internal alignment begins to matter more than appearance or comparison. This shift does not arrive as a revelation, but through smaller, truer decisions, learning what drains you, learning what grounds you, and tolerating less of what does not feel honest. From the outside, this may look like stagnation. From the inside, it feels like truth. And slowly, without force, direction begins to form. Not because you found the answers, but because you stopped running from the questions. Your 20s were never meant to give you certainty. They were meant to teach you how to listen, how to choose, and how to build a life that belongs to you.